great to great to have all our former players, or a lot of our former players, out there today to start our scrimmage out. Had an opportunity for those guys to visit with the team. I thought that was really good. Getting ready for our First and 10 job symposium that we put on every year, and so we brought several of those guys back that'll be meeting with them here in a few weeks, and just share about their experience of being a Razorback, and both the success and the struggles that they had on the football field, and obviously what being a part of this program, part of this university, has meant to them and in their life and in their success. So it was great to have them back out. Thought it was a really good scrimmage today. I thought the elements were incredible. Again, I wish it could have rained a little bit more early on, but again, we forced those guys to be out in that element, and we needed that. I thought the energy level on both sides of the ball was really good. I thought defensively continues to swarm to the football, continues to attack the ball. Our defensive line has really been impressive all spring long, and today was no different. Sosa is really an impact player. I mean, his consistency is really meant a lot. T.J. Smith is another one that has really come on and provided some great leadership, and not only that, but producing with his play as well. I saw a few things today out of Jamario Bell. I just need consistency from him. Gabe Richardson was another one that I've seen some athleticism coming off the edge in a pass rush situation. We've just got to get more physical at those positions in the run game. But definitely off the edge, those guys present a challenge at times. Grant Morgan and has really taken on maximizing his opportunity and getting as many reps as he can, and is really impacting the game. Just a ball player. I'm really proud of him. Continue on our back end, Busta and Jaquez at corner. These are two guys that we talked over the last few days. The value of the experience that they got last year. When maybe they were forced into some action that maybe they weren't ready for, but that experience has provided so much benefit to them for spring. They're playing with great confidence, which is good, and but I'm pleased to see where we are defensively. Got to keep pushing. We got to keep getting depth. Depth at linebacker is a concern, and but the way we're developing those guys. Gio LaFrance and Didi have done a good job there in maximizing their reps. They got to come on. We got basically we got 4 practices left, counting the spring game, and we got to keep bringing those guys on. But we've seen some flashes. I thought offensively today. Let me back up this week. Unfortunately, we lost 3 offensive linemen this week for the rest of spring, which hamstrung us a little bit. But Colton Jackson, as I mentioned last week, was having as good a spring as he's had. So unfortunately, he'll be out with a knee. He'll be back though at the start of the summer. Drew Vest is another one with a shoulder injury, and Silas Robinson with a knee, but he'll be back as well in the early part of the summer. So we've kind of a little bit moving some guys around today. Myron was moved into guard earlier in the week with Colton at left tackle, and well, that was a great compliment. While Austin Capps was out with the flu, we got Austin back today, so that was good.
Welcome in. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Gene Sports Talk Radio. It's a shortened version today as we've been out taking care of some administrative things. Took a couple vacation days, had some personal things hit us quite close to home, but we got all that taken care of. Make a note, we will be out on Friday as we're going to do a little remodeling. Last business that we need to take care of before we bring you the show, the type of show that we think we want to bring you here on the Hill, and just a lot of makeovers. Good and change is always very impressive, don't you think?
Definitely. I think we got a lot of good additions that we're adding in. Just to make us feel at home and just to give us the type of vibe and environment that we want in the studio to really give the Razorback fan base a good show.
Talked to Open with Audio from Coach Chad Moore. Spoke of this Saturday's spring scrimmage in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. A lot of good things are starting to happen, but also, too, a lot of growth, in areas that still needs to take place. in the offensive line, I believe. At quarterback, still a lot of questions at that spot. Will Nick Starkel, will he come in and compete for the starting job? Also, two running back, issues. Who's stepping up in the absence of Raheem Boyd? He's out. So who's it going to be? Chase Hayden. Will he step out? Also, Chase has a birthday today, so I want to give a big shout out and happy birthday to Chase Hayden of the University of Arkansas. But when you think about some more questions heading into this Saturday's red-white finale of spring football, Demetrius, what question still sticks out to you that you'll be looking for come Saturday, final scrimmage?
I definitely have to say the quarterback position. There's a lot of question marks with Ben Simmons as far as his ability to adapt to the type of speed that's going to be in the SEC. He did have a great year before Chad left and kind of had a down, or I should just say less productive year the year after Chad left. So I'm really just ready to see how he plays in a live scrimmage setting where they're where they can call the dogs and let the dogs out and really just play physical with him, because a lot of times in spring ball, coaches don't like the quarterbacks getting touched. They usually have the green jerseys on, showing that, hey, don't you put a finger on my quarterback. So, like I said, I'm really just ready to see him in a live setting, because it's going to be even more, what's the word I'm looking for? Faster, I guess I should say, playing these other SEC teams. So I'm just really ready to see how he does with Arkansas.
It's been quite physical at the practices that we've been able to have availability to. I've really been impressed with the physicality of both sides of the football, offensively and defensively. A lot of new drills that are forcing these kids to really compete against one another. It creates a lot of competition, and the chemistry of this football team. You can kind of tell the culture starting to change. Still yet, there's a lot of work to be done with that part, as well as things just don't change overnight. It takes time and it takes patience from an administrative side of things, and from the coaching. You still have to allow Chad Morris and staff to continue to bring in the type of football player that they deem can help them win at the highest level here at the University of Arkansas. And like I said, it's a process. Nothing happens overnight. I have been impressed, though, by some of the senior leadership that I've seen, guys stepping in. I see a lot of kids and young men that were freshmen either last year or the year before. When you get into some of those physical drills that I like to talk about, they're being some of the front runners and jumping out there and being real physical. And so that lets me know that the culture is really starting to change here. For those that want to chime in today, today's your show. We're in a shortened version, as we'll be taking calls. You can do so here at 601-7400, area code 479, to get you in. We can talk about basketball. It's still yet Arkansas, Demetrius, no coach, still yet. But I'm hearing Eric Musselman, and the more that I've done research, there might be a common denominator. I might know someone on that staff, so I'm kind of holding out hope that I can get some insight. But who knows? We won't even give that away. But Eric Musselman, from all reports, not from here on the Hill. We want to report the solid news, but just hearing scuttlebutts that he is out and about the Arkansas campus on an interview process. Demetrius, if that's the guy, should the U of A have given Coach Anderson and staff another year, or still, as you said, a week after the decision, do you still feel they made the best decision?
Those guys get paid the big bucks. So, like you said, they know what they're doing. Honestly, in my belief, I think they should have gave Anderson another year. I think the only reason you would have fired him if you could go get a guy that there was a small window of you particularly getting him, or you knew you had a good chance of possibly landing a big name hire. Not saying this is a bad hire if they do hire him, because like you were telling me, he's worked with the Golden State Warriors, does have NBA experience, so I think that is good. And anytime you have a coach that's been on the NBA experience, or been on the NBA level, and that's the level
right.
you plan to get to, you at least know that he's knowledgeable to the professional level, so he can teach you things. But again, I think with the formula that Mike was trying to really put together, I think one more year would have been a telltale year as far as can I get what I need. I keep saying I need these pieces. But there was no more Daniel Gafford, so it was almost a new, I don't know, mindset about what the fastest 40 was going to be. And I think, like I said, if they didn't name a big name hire that could go get big recruits, I think they pulled the trigger a little too fast.
Came out yesterday, Keyshawn Embry Simpson, former Arkansas freshman guard here on campus, has decided to cast his lot and finish his career out at Tulsa University. Frank Haith and his staff. So congratulations to Keyshawn. Also too, when you look at this, and we'll about to go to break and have audio from offense coordinator Joe Craddock. He's going to talk about his thoughts on this past Saturday scrimmage. But before we want to go, make a quick note. More to talk about. If you want to chime in today, in our shortened version, we'll be on in our entirety Wednesday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. You can do so here by calling us at 601-7400, area code 479. But real quick, Joe Craddock, he's going to come on and recap this Saturday spring game, and then back to Demetrius and myself for more of OTH. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla.
How did the first unit adapt to, kind of still switching O-linemen around?
Yeah, we've had to mix and match a lot of different areas to this point in spring. We've had some sickness, and have some guys out with injury, and finally getting some guys back. But we also lost a couple more. So it's always one of those things. But you know what? I love it. Thankfully it's spring and not fall, and we were able to get some more guys some reps. And the hardest thing, and I've been saying this, the hardest thing with that is just the continuity up front. You want to get used to playing next to a guy. But again, we're building a lot of depth. Those guys are working extremely hard, playing a lot of different positions. And so that's where it's going to pay off when we're really needing it in the fall.
You can like a Clinton catch up this late in the spring and get in some work.
Yeah, Shane's a guy that, he knows what we're doing. It's really just a matter of, knocking the rust off. He missed some time, and, just knocking the rust off and getting back to his fundamentals and getting back to, what we're trying to ask him to do. And he's doing a fine job. Again, he missed so much time that, he's got to get back in there and knock that rust off.
How's the staff that you avoid getting frustrated not having really a full offensive line since you walked on campus?
Avoid getting frustrated? It's hard because I'm still frustrated. But no, it's hard. Wherever you're at, you're always going to have guys that are going to get banged up. You're going to have guys that are going to miss. And so again, you're trying to find that continuity.
Welcome back.
Find those
it's on
guys
the Pat
that
Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479. Real happy to be back on this Tuesday, April the 2nd, as it was April Fool's. Demetrius, did you get away with some April Fool's jokes yesterday? Because I burned 2 people straight up, and they were good too. I mean, good.
No, I didn't have April Fool's. Yesterday I went to the memorial.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess I can call her my goddaughter. They didn't give me that title, but that was the responsibility I took upon myself.
Yeah.
Just being around them so much. So I just want to say shout out to Ariel, and shout out to my boy Eric Hughes. And I put my finger up one more time for my champion, Ariel. I say we gonna miss you.
Yeah, and my condolences as well. And everyone that's associated with Eric and his family. It's a good family, and there's nothing more. When you suffer a loss, that puts everything into perspective. So, our love and condolences go out to Eric Hughes and all of his family for their unfortunate loss. I have a daughter, so I understand, and it kind of hit home to me. But once again, condolences and much love to you, and we're here for you if need be. But back to football. You watch this team, Demetrius. No Raheem Boyd, no Scooter Harris. Several seniors move on, but you get guys like Miles Mason, a true freshman, redshirt guy, that lost there at the latter part of his year, who was thrown into the fire, becomes a sophomore. I think this guy has the makings of an all-SEC safety, and it starts this year and beyond because I just like the way he, his ball skills, anticipation, and things that you can't teach at the safety spot. Guys like Devon McClure, they call him Plug. His leadership, you can kind of see that he's stepping out into the forefront offensively. You're hearing Hayden, Chase Hayden's name, start to make plays. And Demetrius, you've been a real big fan of Chase Hayden, and it goes back to a year and a half. Even going into his freshman year, you always had a knack. When you hear things like Chase is starting to get it, if Chase Hayden is able to step into that number 3 slot, number 4 spot, I believe it takes 4 capable running backs in the SEC to last very daunting schedule. How big would that be for Chase to step in and really take on that role that some expected his freshman year? Because he showed glimpses up until he was injured.
For sure, that's a guy I've always been high on. I just felt like his freshman year and a little bit of his sophomore year, he relied too much on his athletic ability. And you get that out of young running backs. They used to being faster than everybody in their conference. They used to being, a little swifter. But when you get in the SEC, you kind of you can't get to that edge as fast as you can in the high school ranks. So I think he's just really getting adjusted to understand, okay, I have the physical capabilities to play in the SEC, but let me learn the intricacies of the offense. Let me learn the pass block. Let me learn how to, shade over when my quarterback's in trouble. It's the little things that I think Chase is into his development in.
Right.
This is where I think that he's gonna learn to get in that rotation, because I think Delvar, he solidified his spot, and of course Raheem. I think those guys are going to be the 2 feature backs, but I think Chase can actually add that electricity, because I think he has a different type of burst than those other 2 guys. I think those are guys that can really put their foot in the ground, but I just think Chase has a different gear than those guys. I'm not saying he's faster, but I've seen him cut that burst of speed on that open field. I just believe he can be a home run hit if those guys are the bruisers. If they're lightning and thunder, and then Chase comes in there and pop one for 30 yards.
Right.
And I think Chase is going to be the type of running back where he won't have a lot of carries, so he's going to have those explosive plays with the amount of touches that he's going to be allotted with the type of running backs we have in the stable.
Great point. I mean, the offensive line still question marks. Who's going to be the guy to step in for Yelta Froholt? Johnny Gibson, Brian Wallace, 3 integral guys that played a lot of snaps here in the SEC down in the trenches. Who'll be those guys? I mean, will it be a Dalton Wagner, who I feel physically has made the biggest jump, I think, of all the returning offensive linemen? I can kind of see that, his training, his diet, all those things. Because Dalton doesn't look like the Dalton Wagner I saw that walked in here as a true freshman. I mean, the guy has a knack, and you saw him in the film in that very first scrimmage, the footage that you shot with he and Nick Fullwater. Very physical, more aggressive. That's the thing that sticks out to me, and he's starting to be really a vocal leader amongst that brethren on the offensive line. I think Dalton's starting to step into that role, but we're going to step away real quick as we're going to show a few highlights. We also caught up with Dalton Wagner and also Gabe Richardson, 2 guys at Arkansas. Really, as we spoke about Dalton, Gabe is going to be a guy on that defensive line, I think, that's going to really be an integral part of this upcoming season. We all talk about the depth, and what's the strongest part of of Arkansas's defense has to be that front with Gabe Richardson, Sosa Agim, T.J. Smith, John Marshall, Briston Guidry, and Jamario Bell. The depth, Dorian Gerald. I mean, just the depth and the maturity. A bunch of seniors, a bunch of juniors, guys that are really, really, really going to be counted on. And that's what it takes, Demetrius, in the SEC. You have to have the type of depth in senior and junior leadership. Because it's a physical conference. And sometimes talented freshmen, they're going to run into a wall. But we caught up with Dalton and Gabe, and here's some of the things that they had to say.
geez, we're rolling it, and no turnovers today. That was the big one, and
Yeah, that
at
one
the end of the
hurt.
day, that's what you have to really look forward to is when you don't turn the ball over. I mean, with the offense, like, you're doing stuff good. You're keeping the ball moving, and you're not turning it over, giving them positions to score, and that's really the big one. That's the one we've struggled with a lot this spring. That today we really cleaned up was just keeping the ball on our side.
You guys have had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. How are you guys coping with that, shuffling some things around?
It's, again, I mean, you guys seen it last year too. It's the next man up mentality. It's about just everyone studying as hard as they can, every position they can. And, I mean, Myron moved down to guard for a little bit, and, I mean, Winkle's down at guard right now too, and those were two guys that were expected to play tackles, and it's just trying to get everyone up there to play what they can and to do what they can. And I mean, it's really everyone just steps up and steps in, and there's no complaining, there's no nothing, and we're excited. Whoever goes out there, the best 5 go out there, and we do it.
Okay, this is your last spring. How things going from a leadership standpoint, being a senior, and your development overall?
Having to step up in that role, you just got to take guys with you and know you got to go down the positive stream. We're going to forget about last year and how things went. We're going to go forward and take the guys that we have going in, knowing that we have to go out there and compete. Coach calls the 3 freshmen the pups, but we kind of threw them to the wolves early so they can go out there, have that experience. When Colin Clay gets here, he's going to get that experience too. We want to make sure we put him in that habitat where he can understand game time situations so we can get after it.
Speaking of those freshmen,
Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, on the hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla. Welcome back. It's on the hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Tuesday edition. It's April 2nd edition. Man, the months are going by real quick. We're 4 months into the year of 2019. A lot going on as Arkansas has yet to find a replacement for former Arkansas coach Mike Anderson. Still, the search committee's out. Rumors have it that Eric Musselman, current Nevada head basketball coach, is on campus for an interview, but it's 50-50. Who knows? It's going to be a situation. I think the powers that be it's their decision. Hopefully they can get it right. Eric Musselman, the jury will still be out. I do know a little bit about Eric. Eric's known to be a pretty good recruiter, and Demetrius, when I ask you your feelings, mine on Eric will be a situation where I'll have to wait and see approach. I did the same thing, Demetrius, with Coach Chad Morris. I call him Coach Mo now, and I'm taking the wait and see approach because I don't feel like a coach should be judged until he's had at least 2-3 years into the program. You kind of have to assess the situation that he walks into. I think the biggest thing for whomever the coach is here at Arkansas, he's going to have to make sure that Isaiah Joe, Mason Jones, Desi Seals, Reggie Chaney, and for those that don't give this guy enough credit, Gabe Osaborn, I'm a big proponent of the way this young man plays defense. I think Gabe's going to have a really big jump from his sophomore to junior year offensively with understanding his role on that side of the court. That's going to be the big job. Can this coach keep that core in? And you're going to have to go out and get some older guys. I don't think he can rely on a lot of incoming high school young men.